Hey everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to my webinar. Dealing with a little bit of brain fog today. Thought I overcame it, but apparently it's coming back today. And just want to apologize in advance for that. So welcome. And Dave, let me get you over here. We're going to get started today. And just welcome everyone. And appreciate you being here this afternoon. We're going to talk a little bit about predictive timing and ways that we can analyze markets through a different lens. And in particular, review markets that are seemingly unpredictable. So, for example, if we come and look at the E-mini NASDAQ, and let's say we load 30 days of historical data. Most people are trying to attack this from a veritably unlimited number of angles. They're using trend lines, they're using support and resistance, they're using price action, they're using candle patterns. And, for example, one of the things that I was taught when I first started was that most reversals occur near dojis. And so I would put doji candles on my screen and look for them and try to trade them. And as you can see, sometimes they're a high, sometimes they're a low, sometimes they're in the middle. And then I was taught to look for divergence. That was a big one, divergence. And so we would put a MACD indicator on the screen, and we would look for places where the market was putting in a double top or a higher high, and we had lower values on the divergence. And then vice versa, if the market was moving lower, we would want to see a higher low. So for example, I was taught if we had this low here and we were moving lower, and then we got to this low here and the MACD was moving higher, then that might be an area I want to try to trade. And it all looks good after the fact, right? How many of you have tried things that look great after the fact? And there's this compounding effect that occurs where you think, well, if one thing is good, then a lot of things are really good. And you may be tempted, for example, to put other things. Well, what about support and resistance lines? And then what about a moving average maybe? Or what about a Donchian channel? And if one thing is good, 5 things are great, right? And pretty soon it starts to get congested, confusing, and you realize that you've sat here all day and given back all the money you made in one great trade, death by 1,000 cuts. So check it out. We're going to attack the problem here today from 2 different angles. We're going to attack the problem today from 2 different angles. We have 2 different platforms that we can come at this with. One is for TradingView, the other is for NinjaTrader, and we've recently started servicing the TradingView community, and we're so grateful to those of you today who've joined us in that arena. Let's just look at a NinjaTrader chart from scratch, and I want to bring in a tool that attacks the problem from a completely different direction. And to demonstrate, I'm going to be using the NinjaTrader variant of our time software called Warp, Time Warp. And Wayne, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell the computer to do something really weird. I'm going to say, hey, do me a favor and look yesterday for all the times the market moved. Look yesterday to see what times orders were fired to the upside or orders were fired to the downside. So this is 24 hours ago. And I want this algorithm to keep track of when, not where, not what, where is support and resistance, what is momentum indicators, floor trader pivots, all those things. When did the moves occur? When did the buying start? When did the selling start? And I want to see what happens if we watch for those times 24 hours later. So every signal on my chart is going to be 24 hours old. And I want to see if there's any process or procedure to the market 24 hours after the fact. And some interesting things start to emerge as we go back to this morning. And this is just looking back at yesterday. Let me come in here and increase the size of the text on the margins so you can actually see where the prices are. Does everyone understand the experiment here? These are the times that the market moved yesterday, like the Beatles song. And we're waiting to see if they might do the same thing today. So all my times on this chart are Eastern time. All my times on this chart are Eastern time. So when you see 8:10, that's a 24-hour-old signal. And you can see that they drop down straight away at 8:10. And then you can see at 7:58 that they drop straight up, or they push straight up. You can see 24 hours later at 7:49, something fired a signal, something pushed a button. Same thing as 7:39 and 7:14 and 7:11 and 6:55. I'm just going to put markers near all the times where the move I was expecting to take place 24 hours later, even this one here as it's dropping and then consolidates for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars. I'm going to count that one. And then at 9:51, it goes down. And then what's really cool is 10:01, they took off without us, but I'm not going to count that one. And then at 10:13, it drops straight down. 10:20, you finish where you start. And then at 10:27, it drops down. Now, who's freaked out a little bit by this? Who's weirded out by the fact that if we looked at what happened yesterday, they kind of did it today? If we look at what happened yesterday, when those moves occurred, it happened again today. And so coming into the afternoon, this afternoon, the final move was up from 328 until 406. The final drop was at 228 until 312. The move up was at 220, 205, and another move up was expected at 134 in the NASDAQ. The move down was expected at 154 and 212. There was another move down predicted at 315. Now here's what's bananas. I can see the moves coming up in the future. I can see the moves coming up in the future. Now, this study is different. This study doesn't look at what happened yesterday. This study looks at what happened last Thursday and the Thursday before that. You'll see instead of a number 1, you'll see a 7 and a 14. It's going back 1 week and then another week. It's looking at the last 2 Thursdays. And what's interesting about this chart is I gave out the times for today days ago. If you look here, the NQ 1-minute chart signals for today were uploaded 3 days ago. The times for the morning and the times for the afternoon were loaded to the web 3 days ago. And so when I show you these signals, they line up and they match with everything on my chart 3 days later. One of the ways you can be completely transparent with customers is if you give this type of evidence and come back and analyze it. And so now, when we come back and look at the signals from this morning, you can see that most of the time on the NQ, the stuff that we were expecting actually took place. For today, last night, and then yesterday. Yesterday was bananas. I met with somebody who trades the NASDAQ. Rebecca, are you here? No, not here. And she said, I have a hard time trading it. I'm always in the wrong direction. I'm always getting stopped out. And if you look here, Wednesday, April 16th, NASDAQ AM, look, 942, 953, 1004. 942, 953, 1004. These times were known about 3 days ago. And it looks like I put these signals in by hand. It looks like these were like every other lagging indicator. But when we look and see what happened at these signals, and we waited for these times, remember, per the publishing watermark on those charts, these signals were at least 2 days old. We could bring a electronic forensic analyst in to read when those charts were posted to our web server, and he would swear on a Bible in a court of law that these times were available indelibly 2 days before they printed here. And my, oh my, holy cow, it sure looks like we had an ability to be at the front of the line about 60 to 70% of the time or more when the moves fired off again. Is that a fair statement? Is it okay if I say, hey, these 3-day-old, 2-day-old times, were they 0 to 25% accurate, 25 to 50% accurate, 50 to 75% accurate, or 75 to 100% accurate? Is there anyone here who would disagree with me if I said, hey, 60 to 70% of the time, the signals we were waiting for moved in the direction we were expecting them to? Anybody? Anyone disagree with that on what is arguably the most popularly traded market by futures traders? When I meet with you guys during the week, the first question I ask you is, what platform are you looking at, TradingView or NinjaTrader? Most of you say TradingView or NinjaTrader. Then I ask, what market are you trading? And then you say NASDAQ. Almost every one of you. And you confess how hard it is for you. Well, it doesn't look like it's that hard. And I don't have to sit there all day and wait for the signals. In fact, Here's the best part. I already have the times for the rest of this evening. I already have the times for tomorrow morning. In fact, if I scrunch up my chart, I have them for the 21st. I have them for the 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th. I have the times for the next week of signals. Those times don't change. They don't disappear. They don't reappear. They are what they are. Because they're based on a 1 week old analysis, I can have them 1 week in the future. That is bananas. Yum. I'm not just limited to a 1 minute time frame too. I can go back and look at a higher time frame and see how random all of this tariff crazy nonsense is. And this is what's really going to blow your noggin. I showed this chart last week on the E-mini S&P and on the NASDAQ. And if you guys remember, I was saying we were coming up from the 7th, which was the day before my birthday, until the 21st. I had warned everyone about a drop on March 26th until April 7th. And so on a daily chart, I'm seeing the selling date says May 5th, June 2nd, June 30th. I'm seeing the buying date says April 22nd, May 19th, and June 9th, as well as August 31st. That's pretty far out in the future. When we look at the E-mini S&P, we're already at the sell date. Thursday the 17th until Wednesday the 23rd. And then we have a period of congestion. Notice the signals are all cloistered together from the 23rd to the 29th and the 25th. The software can even tell you maybe this is a bad window to be trading because the signals are so close together. Trade from now until the 23rd and from the 29th until the 8th. Wayne, I show the NQ 1 minute because it gives me a big opportunity to show people a lot of signals on the most popularly traded market. When I look at the ES on a 5-minute chart and we pull up those signals, most people on the ES are trading a 3 or a 5. And that's why I show it. Those forecasts are based on what people are usually asking for. So today, April 17th, the E-mini S&P 5-minute chart, I want you to see this chart was 3 days old also. And you can see the signals, 2 o'clock, 2:50, 4:10, right? 2 o'clock, 2:50, 4:10. How old is this chart? 3 days ago. What happened 3 days later? It's pretty nuts. And so, of course, when the time came, of course, look where I sold. Look where I knew to get out. This isn't mystery voodoo guru nonsense. Why did the 250 signal exist on the 5-minute chart? Why did the 410 signal exist? Why did these signals exist on this chart? Why, when I look forward into tomorrow, can I see the times already? 9 o'clock, 10:35, 2:15, 4:20. And don't give me your hocus pocus shinola about, well, it goes up until about 10 o'clock unless it's going down until 10 o'clock. And then sometimes there's a reversal around 10:15 unless there's not, in which case there won't be. You hear guys like that and they have no clue what they're talking about. I can go down to a 30-second chart and tell you within a half a minute where the turn is likely to close. Since the market is closed Friday, does that affect next week's numbers? Yeah. Next week's numbers on Friday, Lynn, it'll only reference 2 weeks ago. And so one of the ways to overcome that, Lynn, is to change next week's numbers to 21 and 14. You'll go back 3 weeks and 2 weeks and skip back last week's because there's no data there. You can add an extra caboose to the train. Does that make sense? I always want 2 Thursdays. I always want 2 Fridays. There's one day a year where all of you lose your mind. One day. My partner's hair turns white. Rachel runs and hides in a closet. It is after New Year's, January 8th. Every year, everyone wakes up and all the signals are gone. Because Christmas was closed and a week later New Year's was closed. And then they go to trade on the 8th. No signals. Type, type, type. What's going on? And everyone forgets. If there's no data, we can't check it. You can't see it. So, yeah, of course. So, thank you for reminding me. Since I started this company, I have no concept of holidays or time off. I just walk into the office. I sit down and I say, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? That's pretty much my life. But thank you for that question, Lynn. Yeah. And so when we look at different markets, we really start to get a sense of how predictable they are. We really can begin to anticipate the pushes up and the pushes down. And this, for example, were the gold times for yesterday. These were the times for gold futures yesterday. And I teach people a very simple method to use if they don't have an existing trading system. How do we leverage these times? Well, you can go long at 9:55. You can go long at 8:35. You can go long at 11:15 and 2 o'clock. And even if you're crazy, at 4:15 and 6:10. I use a trend filter to help determine which signals to take. Could I have taken a short at 12:25? Sure. Could I have taken a short at 10:35 and 9:40? Sure. But they're against the trend. So at the very least, my risk has to be smaller. But now I have a window of time that tells me when I can get in and when I should be out by, when I can get in, when I should be out by, when I could get in, and when I should be out by. And you'll see as we go back in time that gold and oil and bonds and all the things have these algorithms that drive the prices at certain times. This is in the middle of the evening when you're watching Netflix with your wife. They're firing these algorithms off. When you wake up in the middle of the morning because you had too much tiramisu at grandma's birthday party, gold algorithms are still firing off at 7:10. They're firing off at 5:45 and 5:25 and 5 o'clock and 4:30. Mercilessly. And you know exactly when to place your trades. So those of you that work from home or you come home in the evening and you've got time to trade before you go to bed, throw a long on at 8:15 in gold. and see if you can get out by 9:35. Throw a long in at 11:15 when your wife is saying, turn your phone off. That's why you can't sleep. You got your phone on all the time. Throw a signal on at midnight and 2:05. Set a little timer. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Smack a long on there and see what happens. You can see the times in the future. A lot of our customers now are truck drivers. Truck drivers. Michael, I'm in a rest stop at 10:45. Michael, I'm in a rest stop at 12:15. It lined up near my support level that I was watching, and your time was right near it. I pulled over and I placed a trade, and I pulled out and I kept going. Right? When you have the time signals, you see into the heart of the algorithm. And if we go out to a daily chart, gold has been the best thing ever. How many of you remember when I told you when the next push up in gold was? You've been in these webinars every week. I told you when the next push was coming. There it is. Everyone acts surprised. The guy that I told, who's a professional gold analyst, about this hasn't called me back once. He knew all of these dates, the buys and the sells, haven't gotten a call back since October. He had all the times from October to May. Not one call. Long from April 14th until April 28th. What's going to happen around April 28th? Oh, I don't know. I have no clue what's about to happen, he said sarcastically near April 28th. I know if you bought one gold contract or one micro gold contract, you're up $144. Straight up, it never pulled back. And I can see the dates in the future. Michael, what about the news? What about the news? What about the giant orange-haired man making comments and doing things? Don't you think it's possible that there's, I was going to say 100. Chris, what would be a great way to reward somebody who, I don't know, came to Mar-a-Lago with $1 million gift and said, Mr. President, I'd like to write you a check for your inauguration day. Mark Zuckerberg. Here you go, sir. Jeff Bezos. Here you go, sir. What would be a great gift? Hey, Jeff. Yeah, it's the Don. Just letting you know I'm going to make a big announcement here in a minute. Yep, get ready to buy. Yep, fire up the Cayman Islands accounts. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge. 2 o'clock, I'm going to cancel all the tariffs. And then at 3 o'clock, they're back on. You got it? All right. Say hey to Miss Sanchez for me. She's looking good. Click. You don't think that's possible? You don't think Mr. Musk is moving some orders around in a dark pool? Hello, Elon. Yes, we didn't know how to turn the car on this morning. All sorts of bells and whistles and ding-dongs and boobops. Okay, 2:15 today. Tariffs are off. I love you too. I love you. No, I love you. All right, bye. Click. You don't think that's going on? They all do it. Your guy does it. My guy did it. The next guy is going to do it. When was gold going to go up? April 14th until April 28th. Let's take a look at oil futures on a daily time frame. What's going on there? All I know is that oil was near all-time lows and gas at my station was near all-time highs. Fun. Doesn't this look like oil buys and sells on a schedule? There's things we can do. For example, I can split the times into thirds and see, like a Fibonacci retracement, when it's going to go up for a while and when it's likely to go down again. The next push up is Monday, April 28th. What else? How about notes? That caused a big stir. That caused the tariffs to jump around a little bit. Do the 10-year notes futures on a daily chart look like they're maybe pre-planned? Holy cow. Holy cow. When's the next drop in notes? According to the algorithm, according to the historical data. When are they launching World War V? April 24th. What do we do until then? Look for longs, intraday. Come down to your, I don't know, 10-minute chart, and everywhere you see a buy dot, try it. Any questions about this? What about Bitcoin? Sure. Especially crypto. Look at where the buy dates and sell dates were on crypto. Look at what's coming up. There's an airport arrival and departure schedule locked in just beneath the conscious surface of your mind. All we have to do is ask an algorithm, a program, an indicator to look for them. That's all we have to do. And say, hey, computer, find all the times where the markets are likely to go up or down based on historical patterns. That's my Scotty from Star Trek, by the way. Computer! Remember when he was giving the guy the recipe for transparent aluminum so they could bring whales back through time, forward through time? They were bringing whales through a time machine. William Shatner had that really bad hairpiece, the really bad one. They're all bad. Yeah. Bitcoin's on a schedule. It's on a schedule. Ethereum is on a schedule. Doge is on a schedule. XRP is on a schedule. All of these signals were always these signals and will always be these signals. There's a long window in Ethereum from February 10th. Let me load up the historical data. I haven't had this one forward here. This will be kind of a cool before and after. Oh, la, la. There we go. Guess where Ethereum is headed until Sunday, April 27th? No bueno. It's not over yet. We're in a sell window below 1620. When is Ethereum likely to go up again? Sunday the 27th until May the 18th. And when we scoot down to a lower time frame, look at what they're doing. It looks like there was a plan for Ethereum today. If only there was somebody, who knew the times Ethereum were likely to go up or down today on a 5-minute chart. Oh, wait, that's me. This chart was added 3 days ago. These are the 5-minute signals that are on my chart for today. The drop in Ethereum at 3 o'clock. That was 3 days old. The push up at 125. The push up at 1225. The push up at 1055. The drop down at 940. No push up at 1015. No push down at 1205. We finish where we start at 105. The drop down at 150. And we've almost finished where we start by 220. the bottom at 340. What are the signals for tomorrow? That will never change, disappear, repaint. There they are. They're just here. They're just here. Most people, when I show them that, they won't pay any attention. A few of you are screen grabbing those signals when I put them in there. These were the signals for the mini Dow today. You don't have to take my word for it. You just have to compare them to this chart. Mini Dow, 3-minute chart, added 3 days ago. What are the times? Here are the times. Compare them, pause the video, and compare them to what's on my chart right now. Where did the market go up or down? What's likely to happen in the future? There's tomorrow waiting for us. Any questions about this? In TradingView, it's a little simpler. In TradingView, we have fewer options because of the limitations of the PineScript editor. And we can see 5 signals into the future. We can see 5 signals into the future. So if we're looking at Bitcoin, on a 1-minute chart, we can see the next 5 signals. And they exist as vertical lines on the chart: 455 buying time, 501 selling time, 513 buying time, 527 selling time, and so on. And the accuracy is the same across the various time frames. So I can load this on a 5-minute chart, and the size of the moves gets larger because the time frame is larger. I can go from a 5-minute to a 60-minute chart, and the accuracy of the signals is the same. It's just a larger move at those times. Any questions about Kronos for TradingView versus Warp for NinjaTrader? A lot of the things that you hear are reacting to the tariffs and the moves, like the prices of currencies, for example. Here's the Euro US dollar on a 1-hour chart. If I was a forex trader and I didn't have these times, I'd be miserable. Shoot me. If I couldn't look at these times, I would go crazy. Correct, Wayne. There's one adjustment in Kronos that you can make. There's one. And if you come into the tools section, it's this number here, amplitude. How many of you used to own a radio with a volume dial? How many of you used to own a radio with a dial? Right? This is the dial for how large of a move you want to see examined historically. My wife still has her radio. My daughter wanted it. She thought it was, what was the word? When it's really old, but they sell it in the stores with the hippies now, the hipsters. Not antique, vintage. It was vintage. Mom, can I have your vintage stereo? If you make that number smaller, the default is 11, which seems to work well across a large swath of instruments. But the smaller you make that number, the smaller the moves that the program is looking for historically, the little pivots over time. And then conversely, the larger that number, let's double it to 22, the larger that number, the fewer the numbers of moves, and the larger moves it's looking for historically. And so a good number to settle on to start, somewhere between 8 and 11, seems to be the sweet spot for most markets. Now remember, it's not going to work 100% of the time. If we knew with 100% certainty when the euro would go up or down, the market would cease to exist because everyone is buying and everyone is selling at the same time. Amplitude and swing strength are the same nomenclature, Thomas. Amplitude and swing strength are the same thing, NinjaTrader to TradingView. You're correct. So about 60% of the time, when we arrive at that signal, you're going to see those moves the same way we did over on gold and the NASDAQ and the E-mini S&P. And so there's a reasonable certainty when we get to 5 o'clock and 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock tomorrow that that's likely to happen again. And again, I would really encourage you, when you're looking at these signals, try to look for the ones in the direction of the trend. Look for the signals in the direction of the trend. Any other markets you want to look at while we're over here in TradingView? I think it's kind of fun. One of the ones I love to peek in on is the Trump coin. I want to see how many more middle Americans have been destroyed. Yeah, so the Trump team sold it at 3 p.m. They sold it at 3 a.m. They sold it at 9 a.m. Elon sold what's left of his shares at 10 o'clock the night before and 1 a.m. the morning before that. Right? We're seeing it. We're seeing the manipulation in real time, right? We're seeing the manipulation and we're looking to see where are those moves likely to occur in the future. Here's a 4-hour chart. All right, so we can look very quickly at the patterns that were left behind. We can look very quickly at the patterns that were left behind for us to sift through like garbage. We can sift through them like garbage and try to figure out what pieces are there for us to put together. And just by knowing when those signals are coming in the future, you have a tremendous advantage. You know when. You're not in front of the computer all day. Your stops are smaller because it either works now or it doesn't. You know how long to stay in the move, potentially, because there's a reason to. From 11:55 until when? 11:55 until 1:15. When do most of you get out? Right here. Short, from 10:25 until 11:05. When do most of you get out? Not even halfway. Not even halfway. Any questions about this? Any questions? Anything about the differences between TradingView and the NinjaTrader versions? The value proposition is fairly simple. Most people make the mistake of believing that the markets can do whatever they want, whenever they want, and that it's all a random crapshoot. What we've proposed today and seen evidence of is something entirely different. It's something entirely different. A market where the moves are pre-planned. A market where the moves are pre-planned. Let me show you something if I can find it before we go here today. I want you to see something before we leave. It might be too much. It might be just enough. Let me turn the audio down. I had a meeting today with a client, a potential customer. Rebecca, if you see this someday, I'm sorry. Yes, Wayne. And what I want you to see is when I started the webinar with her, the software had warned me about a long at 7:57. I hadn't changed my daylight savings session signals. And Lynn, Jill, when I started the meeting with her, the first two words out of her mouth were, "Oh, shoot," but she didn't say shoot. And Dave, she was short. And the signal said long at 7:57, short at 8:09, long at 8:28, and short at 8:36. And she was as short as you can be right here. Everybody with me? This is today on Kronos. Michael, why do I care about this piece of crap program? You guys are all alike. You know how much money I've spent on software? Blah, 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 blah. Just listen. And watch what happened a few minutes later. Oh, that's really good. Come on now. Jill, do you see what happened right in front of her? She was like, oh my God. It shot straight up. And then later on in the day, I'm still talking to her. I'm showing her Jill's review. And I'm saying, look, Rebecca, look at what's coming. Look at what happened at 8:09. That's a $450 move, by the way. And then we got to the end. I said, we got to be out of this by 8:28. And she's like, why? I said, well, we just wait. And then at 8:28, it goes straight up $600 per contract. And she's sitting there like, oh my gosh. And then I can't take it. I'm looking for positions with her. Then she's telling me where she lives, and I'm telling her about my life. And by the end of the day, did you see what happened at 8:28? I kept checking back with her. And I said, hey, and by the way, look at what happened at the next sell signal. And John, I'm showing you this to make a ridiculous point. I had told a woman who was being slaughtered by the NASDAQ. She lost $3,000 the day before. And Ian, I told her when it was going to go up, when it was going to go down, when it was going to go up, and when it was going to go down. Raise your hands if you thought she bought right after that session. Raise your hands if you think she ran down the street, sold something to make the payment to get it. Because at 8:46, it went up $500, $600 per contract, right in front of her. She did not. She did not. She hasn't. And so here's the problem. You've been brainwashed. I was brainwashed. I had to hack my way out of my own cocoon of disbelief 16 years ago because nothing I was doing was working. And this person who said, I'm not doing well, I'm not winning, I spend all day in front of the computer and I watch this market, this one bar type all day, and I keep losing. It's going to go up here, it's going to go down then, it's going to go up here, it's going to go down then. $1,800, $1,200. $1,700. What is it that keeps us from shifting in the face of truth, right? You saw the trade live this afternoon when you logged in. You saw the signal on the 5-minute chart. There it is. This signal was 3 days old. This signal is 3 days old. This one was 3 days old. There was no way for me to fake it. There was no sleight of hand. It didn't print 5 bars later. What is it that keeps people from moving into the thing that will save them? There's undeniable proof and evidence here. No one can do what we do. There was recently a conference for a prop firm. One of the largest, if not the largest prop firm, invited all of the experts to come speak and tell people how to do well in a prop firm, including someone I loathe. But that person is really good at social media marketing, has a huge following, gets lots of affiliate sales. And I wrote the owner an email and I said, I've sent you hundreds of successful passing, qualifying, payout earning people. Can I have a seat at the table? I've sent a Skype message. I've sent an email. I've sent a Facebook message. We're friends on Facebook. Nobody wants to believe this, despite Herculean odds, 100% transparency, a near perfect rating on Trustpilot, and according to the web guys, about 85% of people who see what you've seen today leave. They just leave. And only 15% of people exposed to everything you saw here today actually move forward. Why? I honestly don't know. I think the human spirit is extremely self-sabotaging, and when we're right next to the thing that we've been praying to Jesus and Allah and the Kwanzaa tree for, we leave sad. We leave sad. We don't pick up the medicine that will save our lives. Instead, we eat a Tic Tac, cross our fingers, and hope for the best. On our website, there are 2 tools. If you are a NinjaTrader user, the program you want is called Warp. Warp for NinjaTrader is available. There's a promo code. If you click it, it's a lifetime license. The code is WARPOFF. 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 William Alpha Radio Papa Oscar Foxtrot Foxtrot. Warp off. Takes $500 off the price. You get access to our Discord. We have a Discord now. Did you know that? We're killing it in the Discord. People are saving their charts and sharing their signals. Thomas said, here's my results from this week's micros. 93%, $604 using the signals. These are the people that are waiting for you in our Discord to learn from and to share with. They're all here. So you're going to get access to that. You'll also get access to our video training archive, where there are hundreds of hours of videos, very simple ones to get started. 2 computer licenses, lifetime updates, forever. Then, because TradingView exists and millions of you knuckleheads are using it, there's a version of it for you called Kronos. Kronos. It's normally $2.95 a month. We're trying to get the word out to the TradingView community. And at the bottom of that page under Trading Tools, you'll see a link for $2.49 a month. There's a lifetime license option available if you want to buy it and have it forever. But most people prefer the subscription plan. One of the signals I showed you from the video earlier would have paid for several months of subscriptions in one trade. You know, it's not a guarantee of success. Tomorrow those trades might not work. But I wanted you to see in real time with someone I couldn't have prepared for what happened in front of them when they watched it live with me. $2.49 a month. It's going to get you the same perks and privileges. Access to the Discord. You'll have access to the video training archive. When you come into the customer lounge, you'll see there's a video archive here, and there are all the training videos. We're available as well. I'm in the Discord. You have my cell phone, you have my email, you have basically everything you need to get in touch with me. And so we're sort of left with this question. If you can know when the market is likely to go up or down in the future, understood, Lynn. But every once in a while, something comes along where it's just brainless. It's a brainless decision. I'm going to try it, not because there's risk, but because there's almost no risk. All of these people sat where you're sitting and said, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to take a chance. And then I'm going to turn back. And I'm going to say to the other people, hey, I did it. And these people could write anything they wanted. Anything they wanted. They're not paid. They don't get a hat or a t-shirt. They don't get a Fudgy the Whale cake. They're literally, Trustpilot will not let me write false reviews or take bad reviews down. And when it came time, they turned around and they wanted you to know, whoever you are sitting in the chair, wherever you are, it's okay. It's going to be all right. It's not perfect, but nothing is. 16 years, 2 recessions. I predicted this one. If you've been a customer of mine, you know when I told you 2 years ago, July 2025, they're going to report the first official recession since 2020, which I also predicted using the signals that I'm teaching you about here. So it's not really a risk. And then you know who that I'm not mentioning. Look, if I could get rid of that review, I would, because this guy's crazy. If you read his review, he is off his rocker, and I can't take it down. That's how you know all the other ones are real, because of crazy pants. It's not a risk. It's okay. I've designed this whole presentation in a way where you see there was no way for me to fake it. It was completely transparent and predictive, and all the things everybody said you would expect to see happened. Another week. 16 years, 50 webinars a year, going on close to 600 webinars. It's always the same. Thank you for your time here today. This is me pushing you. Do it. Do it. If you want to wake up tomorrow and know the times, if you want to wake up tomorrow in a community of users who've done everything you've done, who've spent as much as you or more, who've lost as much as you or more, and want to help. If you want to learn everything I know about this blade of grass that I've been watching for 20 years, one thing, I've been watching one thing. My head hurts talking to you. One thing. I may be the only person on the planet who knows about this thing, or at least the only one who's sharing what they know. And I want you to know. I want everyone to know. I want you to be the next 4-star, 5-star review, maybe a 1-star review. You might be crazy too. You might have a legitimate beef. Maybe you're not even crazy. I want you to be that person. I want you to wake up not afraid tomorrow. I want you to wake up and not overtrade tomorrow. I want you to wake up and have a smaller stop. I want you to wake up and see what all the other customers are seeing. And maybe my trend line is this way, or your trend line is a little bit this way. All you need is trend lines, said the person who was invited to the conference. My uncle taught me how to trade. Sure he did. Tell us how much you make in affiliate commissions every month. Never get an answer to that question. I want what you want for yourself. I believe it with you. I'm proud of you for getting to where you're at right now. If you're here and you're listening to me, you're still in the game. You're still learning. You're ignoring all the people who are yelling at you. Stop, you're crazy. Why are you doing this? Keep going. But do it smarter. Don't work so hard. I believe in you. Everyone have a great night. Have a wonderful holiday weekend. If this is the weekend you celebrate and believe the things that everyone else believes who celebrates this weekend, I hope it's fantastic for you. I would encourage everyone this week, especially, I lost a very dear friend of mine. I saw him on a Sunday, I hugged him and I told him that I loved him, and on a Monday at 11 o'clock, he was gone. Massive coronary. Inside of 2 or 3 minutes, he was walking around and then he wasn't here anymore. And I promised myself I would not only learn from that, but I would teach from that moment. Make the most of the time that you have. These charts, if nothing else, give you hours of your week back every week. I don't want you sitting in front of a computer all day listening to nonsensical gurus in free trial trade rooms. I want you to hug the people that you love. I want you to see a sunrise or a sunset. Eat a sandwich that you love. Close up after your daily goal is hit and play golf if you love it. Whatever weird, crazy shenanigans you're into. We get one round on the little blue marble. And I would encourage you this weekend, as you're gathered near friends and family and neighbors, to remember it might be the last time. Time is the one commodity you can't pay another nickel for. Me, you, Zuckerberg, Bezos, drinking embryo blood, whatever he's doing out there with Lauren Sanchez and their 1 million square foot yacht, they can't add another second to the day at the end of 24 hours. Tell the people you love them. Trading, it's just a thing. But the people in your lives, the time that you have here, make the most of that. That's the best advice I can give you here tonight. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. And if you have any questions, please reach out, email me, call me, send me a carrier pigeon. I want to help. And the person whose name I didn't mention, come on, Come on, let's go. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye now.